And the demonstrators that were arrested last summer at the ICE protest want their charges dropped, but their attorneys are arguing now. Plus, the designer behind last year's Bloomsday shirts speaks on their process as well as the inspiration.
And we are tracking the threat for any type of winter weather here in the inland Northwest. We'll have all the details here on NonStop Local, and that starts now.
Morgan Ashley, bringing you the content that connects our communities. You're watching NonStop Local Pulse Prime.
I'm Morgan Ashley. Welcome to Pulse Prime. It has been a roller coaster of weather days, bringing a little something different depending on where you live. But with me now is weather forecaster Tori Smith, and we are checking the forecast first because things have been changing.
Yes, things have been changing pretty rapidly here. I mean, we've had rain this entire past weekend, and as we head into the next week ahead, that goes into tomorrow, Tuesday, into your Wednesday, we're starting to see the weather take a shift. As of right now, those clouds are moving on out. We did have a couple thunderstorms up towards our northern counties for today. Even all the way up towards Ione saw a couple of those thunderstorms, so there's that time lapse, but we're losing the daytime heating. So a lot of those thunderstorms are now dissipating, and we're starting to see the wind pick up from here. Moses Lake currently at about 25 miles per hour. Other areas sitting roughly at about 10 miles per hour. That goes for Coeur d'Alene and over towards Moses Lake. As we head into your day tomorrow, the weather is going to start to take a turn and we see a cold front move through. This cold front will increase our chances for mountain snow as well as a mix of rain and snow accumulation for the valley. So in the meantime, we do have a winter storm warning for portions of the Cascades and winter weather advisory for those portions in Ferry County.
Well, turning now to the Middle East, the ceasefire that during the war in Iran has just expired or will expire in just over a week. After high-stakes talks collapsed over the weekend, the path forward remains uncertain, Sherelle Hubbard reports.
We can't let a country blackmail or extort the world, because that's what they're doing. They're really blackmailing the world. We're not going to let that happen.
President Donald Trump said Monday if a peace deal is not reached with Iran by the end of the two-week ceasefire, that, quote, it won't be pleasant for them. This after the U.S. military set up a blockade on Iranian port traffic around the Strait of Hormuz as of 10 a.m. Eastern Monday.
Iran has said this blockade violates the ceasefire. But it's one thing to say that. It's another thing to start shooting.
In a post on Truth Social, Trump warned that the U.S. will sink any Iranian fast attack ships that come near the blockade, threatening they'll, quote, be immediately eliminated. Trump's comments come after U.S.-Iran peace talks in Islamabad, Pakistan, failed to turn out a deal over the weekend. But Trump claimed Monday that Iran had contacted his administration and said they would, quote, like to make a deal very badly.
His leadership of the war might as well be called Operation Epic Failure. The Strait of Hormuz, chaos. The Iranian regime still standing. Gas prices at the highest level in years.
Senate Minority Leader Chuck Schumer said Democrats in the chamber would force a vote this week in an effort to rein in Trump's war powers. I'm Sherelle Hubbard reporting.
Well, let's get a look at gas prices right now. Weekly increases are seeing slight jumps for each area, with Spokane at $4.29, Tri-City still over $5 at $5.09 a gallon, Coeur d'Alene at just 1 cent below the national average of $4.12 at $4.11. And we will have in-depth looks at the prices, further oil increases and predictions coming up. Some new details on the deadly nighttime shooting in Spokane Valley last week. The Spokane County Medical Examiner identified the victim as 17-year-old Carter Cochran. Authorities say that he was experiencing a mental health crisis, stopped a car and tried to get inside. Investigators say the situation escalated and the armed driver shot and killed him. NonStop Local's Noah Bolter spoke with Cochran's family and district officials.
District staff tell me they will have counselors and support staff available during and after school throughout the week, including right here at Lewis and Clark High School.
The district sharing this message with the public, saying they encourage families to check in with their children and be mindful of any signs of emotional distress. District representatives continuing to say creating space for open conversations and offering reassurance can make a difference as students process. I reached out to Cochran's aunt. She says it's really painful to keep reading articles and seeing horrible comments when she says the full story isn't out yet. But right now, she is declining to comment further. Friends and strangers raising roughly $20,000 in the week since Cochran's passing through an online fundraiser. Organizers describing Cochran as someone who brightened any room he walked in and a man of faith who made you laugh until your stomach hurt. A quick Google search of Cochran's name and you may come across this website, athletic.net, where Cochran is listed as a track and field athlete for Lewis and Clark High School, most recently competing on March 19th in several events just 20 days before he died. That same website indicates Cochran has been a track and field athlete all 4 years of his high school career.
The Spokane County Sheriff's Office confirming no arrests have been made in connection with the shooting, but the investigation is still active. In Spokane, I'm Noah Bolter, NonStop Local.
Well, during our coverage last week, we shared with you details about access to mental health support services. You can find that information right now on our website. Continuing coverage on a story we brought to you this weekend. A couple is in custody after a shooting in Spokane's East Central neighborhood. A man's been charged with assault in the 3rd degree. He's being held on a $50,000 bond. His wife was just released and her assault charge has been dropped. Court documents show the suspect admitted to using a gun to force a man off the property, citing alleged physical contact with his wife. Witnesses reported seeing the suspect, fire from a balcony and then chase the unknown man while shooting more rounds. His wife was released after her assault charge was dropped, but still faces an evidence tampering charge. The Benton County Sheriff's Office confirmed over the weekend a missing 7-year-old girl who disappeared from a Prosser home has died. The Sheriff's Office says 1 hour after the search began on Friday, a deputy found her in a canal a long way from home. Responders started life-saving efforts and rushed her to a hospital, but doctors confirmed she passed away. An irrigation worker called to say they spotted a body in the nearby canal, and the deputy pulled off all of their gear and jumped into the water to get to that girl. Major crimes detectives in the coroner are now investigating the child's death, and an autopsy is scheduled for later this week. Well, nearly 10 months after the ICE protest in downtown Spokane, 3 of the 9 people arrested are trying to get their charges dismissed. Former City Council President Ben Stuckert was one of those 9 arrested. He is charged with conspiracy to impede or injure officers after 2 young men showed up to a regular check-in with ICE and were detained. Stuckert did plead guilty for his role, but the 3 others who were arrested are scheduled for hearings tomorrow to have their charges dismissed. According to court documents, defense attorneys are arguing the indictment is unconstitutional under the First Amendment, saying it amounts to treating the protected right to protest as a force, intimidation, or threat. The defense's motion is claiming there's no evidence or allegation the 3 had specific plans or used unlawful tactics to impede officers by force. Instead, they argue the tactics were not planned and simply a response to a public call on social media from Stuckert aimed to pressure the release of 2 men, meaning there was no conspiracy. The motion hearing to dismiss will happen tomorrow afternoon. Under Stuckert's plea agreement, he must follow all release conditions to avoid jail time and can withdraw the felony and misdemeanor pleas in June of next year. As for the 2 immigrants who were detained, Cesar Alvarez Perez ended up choosing self-deportation rather than stay in custody. And in February, a district judge ruled the U.S. government illegally detained Josue Rodriguez Torres, and he was released from custody. Well, another day, another college basketball transfer portal headline. Austin Getz joins us now. One former Gonzaga Bulldog has found their new destination.
Another headline or another headache, depending on how you're looking at it, Morgan. This one, a very interesting story here. I'm not sure many Gonzaga fans were expecting Emmanuel Innocenti to jump into the transfer portal in the offseason, but the shock does not end there. Innocenti has announced he'll continue his career at Arizona State, playing for former St. Mary's head coach Randy Bennett in his new gig. With Bennett's emphasis on defense, not a surprise that Innocenti is a player he had his eyes on, especially since he's had a front row view of Innocenti playing against the Gales. Still, it'll be weird seeing Emmanuel in a huddle with Bennett and not Mark Few. And in case you missed it, didn't tune in last night, the Zags did land their first transfer portal edition of the offseason yesterday. Houston transfer guard Isaiah Harwell is headed to Spokane next season. A native of Pocatello, Gonzaga originally recruited him out of high school. Harwell instead going to Houston for his freshman season. He averaged about 3.5 points and 2 rebounds per game last season. Morgan, obviously still a long way to go before we get all the rosters, all the open spots ironed out, but a good start for the Zags. Someone that they've had their eye on for quite a while and somebody that they know pretty well.
All right, sounds good. Thank you, Austin. Still to come here tonight, the artist behind last year's Bloomsday shirt talks about the inspiration for the design process as we count down the days to Spokane's iconic event.
And we are tracking the weather here in the inland Northwest as we have a
Content connecting community. You're watching The Pulse.
Thanks for joining us on The Pulse. A kayaker found a body at Crab Creek near Beverly, and investigators are now working to identify the person and how they died. The body was found in the water Saturday. Grant County deputies used a drone to locate it. The body is now with the coroner's office for identification. 26-year-old Aspen Valdez, who was found dead in a Sprague, Washington backyard, died as a result of hypothermia in the setting of methamphetamine intoxication. That is according to the Spokane County Medical Examiner. Valdez was reported missing February 26 after she left her family's vehicle on foot, saying that she was going to Spokane. Her body was found March 3rd. Idaho Fish and Game is asking for information after 2 elk were illegally killed in Farragut State Park. Conservation officers say they were found less than a half-mile from the park visitor center near State Highway 54. The killings are believed to have occurred between April 10th and 11th. So if you have any information about what happened, you should contact the number on your screen. Kittitas County is reporting 4 measles cases this year, 3 of them inside of a single home in isolation. Health officials say the family stayed home after symptoms began, so no additional public exposures expected. Kittitas County is investigating possible links to other cases. Washington's reported 33 cases this year. Officials urge residents to check their vaccinations. Well, we are counting down the days to the big race here on NonStop Local. Bloomsday is 19 days away, 11 hours, 14 minutes if you want to get specific. And speaking of Bloomsday, the iconic souvenir you cannot buy, it is earned and only delivered to those who register and complete the course. I'm talking about the iconic Bloomsday Race Day t-shirt. The color and design is a closely guarded secret until the unboxing on race day. It's also an honor to be the person that's chosen to design it. NonStop Local's Leslie Lowe recently spoke with the designer of last year's shirt.
So tell me about the inspirations for the design then for you.
So I wanted to do a play on the bloom part of Bloomsday. So I included lilacs, and I made it a lilac color as well. And I also, being a former cross-country runner, I wanted to incorporate the shoe design since everybody's shoe is going to be different that's running the race. And so I used that to incorporate the lilacs in there. And so it's like our own little Bloomsday footprint.
50th, we are asking you to share your new and vintage photos with us. You can share those photos by using the news tip link on our website, or you can scan this QR code on your screen. And I love seeing everybody's reaction after they finish the race and they get the t-shirt and they get to put it on. My mom loves it every year. I feel like that's the only reason she signs up, just for the shirt. I think that's enough motivation for people.
And I've heard that you have to complete Bloomsday, right?
Yeah, and they really do guard the shirt. Like, nobody is allowed to see it. I mean, we get to shoot it with our cameras before, but it's like hunker down on this video until the end. Yeah, it's really serious.
I'm really excited for it. What I'm not excited for is the weather. We got to talk a little bit about it. First of all, across the region, we're seeing temperatures into the 50s. And personally, I'm looking forward to some sunny days. In the meantime, the next couple of days are not going to be so sunny. So here's a look over the satellite radar. We can see as of right now, the clouds are still in place, but we're seeing a couple of those showers and even a little bit of snow showers over towards Missoula at this time. A lot of this will dissipate throughout this evening, and we'll start to see that pick up once again for tomorrow. In the meantime, those overnight temperatures are going to be into the upper 30s, low 40s across the inland northwest. We have about 37 degrees towards Yakima tonight, about 40 degrees towards Wenatchee, and about 40 degrees for Walla Walla. Overall, it's pretty cool. We're staying pretty cool under those cloudy skies. And by the time we get to your Tuesday, this is starting about 6 a.m., we're going to start to see those showers move in. We have a cold front that's slowly approaching. This is the next system at play for us, and we have those showers pretty widespread by about 4 p.m. for us here in Spokane into Idaho and then into Montana. As for northern Oregon, already starting to see a mix by tomorrow afternoon. Forecast highs are going to stay pretty cool under those cloudy skies tomorrow. We're going to see those forecast highs into the low 50s. Some areas, even the upper 40s, is about as warm as we're going to get. The wind's going to really pick up too, so you're going to start to feel it being even cooler outside from those wind gusts. But we'll be gusting anywhere from 30 to even 50 miles an hour is a possibility for tomorrow. We have 27 miles per hour picking up towards Tri-Cities about 1 p.m. for tomorrow, 22 miles per hour towards Kalispell, and then it takes a turn for the worst in terms of wind gusts. Across the Cascades, it seriously picks up. Wind gusts up to about 50 miles an hour. We're seeing about 41 estimated towards Ritzville about Tuesday afternoon into Tuesday evening. As soon as that front passes, the wind will finally subside and we'll see more gusting up to anywhere up to about 20 miles an hour as a possibility. But we do have a couple of alerts in place. First of all, we have a winter storm, a winter weather advisory for this area towards Ferry County today, and that's until 5 p.m. for your Wednesday. So anywhere along the Cascades really is going to be seeing that winter weather. Anywhere up to about 10 to even 12 inches is definitely possible along the passes. And we're continuing to watch this cold front here move through. So as soon as this front moves through by about 5 a.m. on Wednesday, all of that rain does turn to snowfall. So any areas, if you're traveling down towards Boise, those passes will be extremely snowed in and maybe even up to about 20 inches if you're heading down south towards Boise. So just be really careful if you're planning on traveling here in the next about 3 days or so. The snowfall finally moves out by the time we get to about Thursday morning. But in the meantime, I do want to show you some of those snowfall totals. Anywhere upwards of about 5 inches definitely possible for the mountains. If you head into the valley potlatch, we're seeing about ½ an inch of snowfall definitely possible. But again, if you're looking along the passes, anywhere from 4 to 8 inches of snowfall is possible. Up until about Tuesday. By Wednesday, 5:30, we're already at about a foot of snowfall is expected. Here's a look at your 7-day forecast. We're in the clear by Friday.
Well, coming up, the WNBA draft was tonight. Austin is back to introduce us to the Seattle Storm draft class, including a trade that is making waves in the league tonight.
From the Northern Quest Sports Studio, this is SWX NonStop Local Sports.
The Seattle Storm made the WNBA playoffs last season, but failed again to win a playoff series, their last one of those in the postseason in 2022. That, coupled with a ton of roster turnover in the offseason, meant that tonight's WNBA draft was very important for Seattle to try and get headed back in the right direction. So let's look at the draft class. Up first with the third pick of the draft, Seattle taking Awa Fam Thiam, a 6'4" center from Spain who is heralded for her ability to stretch the floor and shoot from outside. Then at 14, the Storm choosing Taina Mayer, a point guard from Duke who averaged over 11 points and 5 assists per game. Then in the second round, perhaps the headline of the night, the Storm selecting Marta Suarez and immediately trading her and a second-round pick in 2028 to the Golden State Valkyries for Flau'jae Johnson, a standout at LSU who was taken by Golden State at 8th overall. With their final pick in round 3, Seattle taking power forward Grace Van Sluten, who played 2 years nearby at Oregon before finishing her collegiate career with 2 years at Michigan State. Training camp starts next week with the Storm's season tipping off May 8th against Golden State. Seattle Mariners complete a rare 4-game sweep of the Houston Astros today, beating their rival 6-2 to make it 4 wins in as many days. It's been a frustrating start to the season for Josh Naylor, but he breaks through for his first 2 home runs of the season, driving in 5 of the Mariners' 6 runs on the scoreboard. The M's will ride this 4-game win streak down to San Diego to open up a 3-game series against the Padres tomorrow. And already eliminated from the playoffs, the Seattle Kraken lose their final home game of the season 5-3 to the Los Angeles Kings. Seattle goes 19-17-5 at home this season and will miss the playoffs for a 3rd straight year. They'll close out the season with road games at Vegas Wednesday and Colorado Thursday. Spring football continues down on the Palouse. The Idaho Vandals coming off a weekend where, as Grady Glover tells us, it was the defense setting the tone in the Kibbe Dome.
2 weeks of spring practice done for the Idaho Vandals. In the first live game action, the defense flying around, forcing 4 interceptions and hoping that that defensive intensity is something that can carry on throughout the spring and into the fall.
Last year we were just very mediocre at getting the ball back. I think we only had 7 interceptions or something like that. And so seeing those guys, and we're playing a lot of time to it, right? We're spending a lot of time with our turnover circuits, takeaway circuits, and things like that. But seeing them get the ball back and flying around was definitely encouraging, especially because that's something that we really needed to improve from a year ago.
The opportunity to take the ball away is a huge priority. And we've really seen that, the mentality part of it, take that from since we've come in the door, right? Myself and the staff. And in 6 practices, it's done at a high level, right? So it's kind of twofold, right? Forcing ball security from the offense, but again, embracing the idea of we take the ball away and prevent points, we'll win a lot of games here in Idaho.
Although it was the defense who was clearly the more dominant side of the ball, they credit the offense for giving them different looks and pushing them every day at practice.
It's always that way, right? When you're learning stuff that's new, it's a little bit easier to run around and just play football. You know, offense takes a little bit more time, but we've seen our offense do some good things throughout the spring, you know, early. And so I think really the defense came a little bit more ready to play at, in my opinion, today.
I give a lot of praise to Coach Shoemaker, right? He gives us about every conflict play known to man in the game, right? It's really difficult, and it makes you have to be a step ahead. So in long term, it'll make us really well in the fall.
The defense wins this battle of the live reps in spring practice, but the offense excited to get back on the field, try and even up the score before they got their spring game coming up on May 1st. Reporting from the Kibbe Dome, Grady Glover, SWX.
Well, we are a week into the Bites and Books food drive benefiting local food banks. As a reminder, data from Feed America shows that 1 in 5 kids in our community face food insecurity in 2024. So libraries across the county are continuing to accept non-perishable donations through the end of the month, the end of April. You can scan the QR code there on your screen and it will take you to the closest participating location. Of course, anything helps. Thanks for donating. Have a good night.